Okay.
I was raised on a ranch in these parts, you know. And as my siblings grew up and decided to go, I was left on the ranch to do all the work. Didn't bother me much. To me, it was a perk. I'd been doctoring cows all afternoon, and it was just about dark on that last day of June. The day, it seemed, had gone awful slow, and I was working with a Mexican named Emilio. Now, he was fair with a rope and not bad with the horse, so our biggest problem was the language, of course. I explained to him what we was a-doing as best I could, and he just smiled and said bueno, which in Spanish means good. We found a lame cow down by the spring, so I decided it was time that we do our thing. I said to Emilio, what would you say if we just doctor this cow and then call it a day? Now, my horse was tired and needed a rest, so I decided it was time to put Emilio to the test. I told him to rope her, and I wished that he would, and I hoped that he would. And he just smiled and said bueno, which in Spanish means good. I circled around to get her out of the trees, and she flew like a feather out of the breeze, and there went Emilio on a dead run. Now I was a-thinking, now this could be fun. She dove through the brush like an old freight train, and right behind her was Emilio. He didn't complain. But after a while, I heard a yell come out of the draw. So I went to the clearing, and guess what I saw? He had caught her and stopped her and dallied up tight. But you should have seen Emilio. Man, what a sight! His shirt was all torn, and he'd lost his hat, and he wasn't too happy, I can bet you on that. Well, I was still laughing about the time that he'd had. Then I saw that Emilio was getting kind of mad. Well, I gave her a shot so he could turn her loose, and Emilio decided it was time to cook my goose. He undid the rope, and that set her free, and she was plumb on a fight and a-looking at me. I ran through the brush, oh, I'm telling you now, wanting nothing to do with that mean old cow. I climbed as far as I could up the old oak tree, and then I saw Emilio was a-laughing at me. He didn't come to chase her away like he should. He just smiled and said bueno, which in Spanish means good. It was after dark when he finally drove that cow away, and it felt good to get down, I'll have to say. Well, I got on my horse and we headed for home, down through the darkness where the cattle all roam. And I was a-thinking as we rode along, just trying to figure out exactly what it was that went wrong. Well, I bet by now the moral you've guessed. He who laughs last always laughs best. And then I said something I knew he understood. I smiled and said bueno, which in Spanish means good.